Well, good afternoon and good morning to those of you who are coming from a different city. I'm Phyllis Dickerson, the CEO of the African American Mayors Association. Thank you for joining us today for our second session, which is on policy programs, grants, and cohorts. We hope that you find this session informative. And so just to start off, we're going to give you a little bit of an overview of AAMA policy pillars. As you know, the first one, and this information can be found later on our AAMA website under the policy section as it relates to climate. And most of us have been experiencing that in our major cities. Under that, we advocate for clean and renewable energy, environmental justice, farmers, petrochemicals, and rural and coastal communities. Our next policy pillar is under health. And as you know, that has been a great issue for us post-COVID and even during COVID. And so access to just healthcare, nutritional foods, preventive care, and the well-being of mothers. We also have a Black maternal health toolkit that you may want to take a look at that is also on our website. And we do an initiative with Fund 2, which is Robert Smith's foundation, and with the Clinton Global Initiative. The third policy pillar is under infrastructure, and this covers everything from telecommunications to water infrastructure to transportation. And then the next policy pillar is public safety and community revitalization. And so this is everything from crime justice reform to crime prevention reduction, reducing gun violence, generational wealth, workforce development, housing, small businesses, and better schools and educating our children. And our last policy pillar is actually under civic engagement, which is voting rights and redistricting. And so I wanted to make sure that you guys knew some of the things that we are doing as it relates to our policy pillars. Carlos, is Stacy and her team on under grants and consultants? Are you ready for Ice Miller? All right, is Jared available?
I am here.
So Jared, if you would introduce yourself and then cover the role that Ice Miller plays on the policy side in your policy presentation.
Yes, so Jared Lodeholt, my partner in the Washington, D.C. office of Ice Miller, and we wear two hats. For AAMA, we are legal counsel, so contracts and issues come up, we review those and provide legal advice, but we also are policy advisors and consultants to the member body, your board, and their staff. And that work is in a number of buckets. One is around policy committees. There are policy committees that we have around transportation, infrastructure, and resilience. We have a policy committee on public safety and accountability. We have task forces, one on Black maternal health. Phyllis talked about our toolkit that we did last year that we encourage every mayor to find a way to implement that toolkit in their city. We have a task force on a racial wealth gap, closing the racial wealth gap, wealth generation, which is economic development, small business, that kind of thing. And so a lot of our work day to day tends to look like a combination of things. Sometimes our business council members, they bring issues to us and they're seeking AAMA to take a position on it. So we often sign on the letters. We help draft comment letters. So we deal with regulators in that way. We're engaged in Congress primarily around the appropriations process. And so right now we're monitoring the FY25 budget around certain key programs and accounts that we know cities rely on, such that when the House comes up with their numbers, we will kind of intervene and say, here's what we think the Senate number should be. And so we did that last appropriation season. We've been really active on issues like home ownership. And so we have a partnership with the National Association of Real Estate Brokers, but we also intervene on policy issues as they arise. And so we consider ourselves kind of an omnibus kind of policy shop in that if there's an issue in Washington that cities deal with, we're a resource. What we are launching and what Phyllis and the team will probably announce soon is office hours, where we will meet individually with mayors and or their senior staff to talk through 3 to 5 policy issues that they are dealing with in their cities. And we help connect them to resources and thinking strategically around how they can help to resolve and address those issues in their cities. And so I don't know if there's a Q&A session at some point, but happy to answer questions.
Right. Would you like Jared to go ahead and answer his questions? Does anyone have any questions for Jared, even if it's about the office hours? What we're trying to do is allow mayors who are from mid or small size cities that may not even have a grant manager or anything or staff that can do the work. Jared and his team are experts in the policy area and grant funding. And so if you are interested in, we have in the next week, we should, 5 of you, I think, on the call will be getting emails to set up office hours to talk to his team about where you feel your issues are. But we'll open it up. Just raise your hand or jump in, and Jared is well able to answer any question. If you don't have one right now and need to think about it, we'll come back to it. All right. So next we'll have Ashley Roberts. Ashley is AAMA's Director of External Affairs and Special Events. So Ashley will talk to you about one of the grant programs that you're able to apply with for AAMA. Ashley?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to talk about our Nutrition Access, Affordability, and Education Grant Program. This is in partnership with one of our top sponsors, American Beverage Association, and it's actually with their C3 arm, the American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America. This was launched as a 3-year commitment, and we are actually going into our 3rd year coming up this cycle for the grant, and we are hopeful for another renewal next year. And so what it started out actually as a $500,000 commitment, and we were giving awards to 1 small city, 2 medium-sized cities, and 1 large city. But the last year, they actually increased their commitment to $600,000. So now we're able to give awards to 2 small cities, 2 medium cities, and 1 large cities. As you can see, those amounts are really impactful for the city, depending on your size. For a small city, you receive $75,000. For a medium city, you'll receive $125,000. And for a large city, you'll receive $200,000. And the good thing about these funds is that they're unrestricted as far as how the city chooses to use them with the program that wins the application. One thing that our judges are looking for in the application is going over those access, affordability, and education components. Our judges are looking for sustainable programs. They're looking for things that can be copied in other cities or just good examples. And so we do ask for supporting materials like your budget. We ask for the support that the mayor is going to give the program and making sure that your city has a plan for how the city will support it. And a lot of times there are other ways for you to partner in this application. We see cities partnering with nonprofits who are kind of doing the work that the city will support, or we see organizations that might be matching the funds. And that's a really good way for you to increase your awards or your financial support for any programs that you have. Also, it's good to know that this is not just for an existing program, it's for pilot programs as well. So if you have a good concept that your city is working on, but you just need financial support, I highly encourage you to apply for this grant. The application period will open in September and it closes in November. So you have about 6 weeks to submit that application. And I have actually added the UR link for you to go and explore our facts page if you have any additional questions. We also have the videos of all of our winners from the past 2 years that you can see. I see that Greenville is on here. They won our very first year. And a good thing about the grant program is not only do you receive funds, you receive video support that you can use for marketing for your programs. You can host this video on your city website. And so it goes a long way as far as impact for your city and your constituents. But again, I'm the main person of contact for this grant program right now, and we definitely want to encourage you all to apply. We want to make this a competitive program, and that way we can show our partners, American Beverage Association, that it's worth continuing their support. So If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me or check out our site.
Great job, Ashley. Is that actually Mayor Eric Simmons on from Greenville, or is that one of his staff people?
It's one of his staff. Yep, you go ahead, you can speak.
Okay, I was gonna tell him just to share a little bit about how he benefited for the program, but it's okay, we'll move on. I just thought that was Mayor Simmons on the call.
Kyla was actually one of our direct reports for the program. So I think she can speak to how the funds have affected the city.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Kyla Rice, and I am Mayor Simmons's executive assistant, just stepping in for him. Yes, this grant has been great for our program here in Greenville, which is called the City of Greenville Food Corps Program, where we have 4 food corps service members going into our local elementary schools teaching agricultural and nutritional lessons. Ever since we were awarded this grant for the food corps program, we have been able to create school garden spaces at our local elementary schools. So that has been very exciting. Students are now getting the opportunity to actually see how their food is being grown in the garden, starting from the seed and seeing how the seed turns into a plant and then into the food that they eat at their dinner table. And also through this program, we are addressing food insecurity because we are teaching these students how to be self-sustainable. And we teach these lessons with the concept that when they learn about agriculture and nutrition, they go home and teach their families about what they learned from the food corps program and encourage their families to adapt and to adopt those healthier lifestyle choices and overall creating a healthier community overall. So we are very thankful for this grant from the African American Mayors Association and the American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America, because ever since receiving that funding, I can really say as a food corps site supervisor that this program has really flourished. So we are very thankful.
Thank you so much. That's exciting because guess what? Food Corp has reached out to us. So I think we may be getting some more money and some more grants. So you guys stay tuned and we'll let you know.
Great, awesome.
So I know Stacy is traveling today for us, and she's our fellow for the Environmental Defense Fund. And so Carlos, you want to take over Stacy's role?
Yes, I can do that. So good afternoon, everyone. Good morning to some. I see all the way from California, Culver City. Shelley has joined. So we're so excited to just give an overview of some current grant opportunities as presented. These resources by Stacy Fujii, who is our EDF fellow with the Environmental Defense Fund. And there's going to be quite a bit of information that I'm going to share. But this presentation will be available to you later. We will email it out to all mayors and to staff members because there are some important links that are inside of this presentation. So the Environmental Defense Fund is currently they have a annual grant cycle where there are multiple grants available to cities and municipalities, parishes. And what you see here and on the next page will be some of those grant opportunities that are currently available where the grant application cycle is still open. So for instance, we see the state-based home energy efficiency grant through DOE, $250,000 to $5 million. So that's to do training in home energy efficiency and a workforce development. There are specific states that money is allocated to. And also including if you have universities or for-profit and nonprofit organizations in your cities or municipalities. Community Change Grant, you'll see is still open. It opens with the deadline of November the 21st of this year. Currently open with a closing date of July the 25th is a Clean Heavy Duty Vehicles Grant. This is discretionary. And so there's program funding for this entire program upwards of $932 million. And just a little more general information that has been provided by Stacy is that these entities can incentivize and accelerate the replacement of existing non-ZE class 6 and 7 heavy-duty vehicles with ZE vehicles, right? And so that information will be available along with the links if you are interested or you have colleagues that are interested in that work. Stacy has also provided some tools for grant searches. So the Environmental Defense Fund and Columbia's Climate School have created this Inflation Reduction Act database tracker. So all of these grants are related to the Inflation Reduction Act, and you can see from all of the federal agencies, you see DOT, Department of Treasury, has 28 programs available. The Interior has 21 programs available. We see even the Postal Service has a program available, and all of these resources are available to you and your cities, your municipalities. And this tool that is included, once you click the hyperlink, you are able to click through each one of those boxes and find applicable programs if you think that you are interested. Another tool that is provided, we know many of you are working on your climate action plan. Some of you have them in place. Some of them need revisions. There is a U.S. Climate Vulnerability Index through EDF that is available. As you can see, for example, we have tracked Memphis, Tennessee, and you can see Memphis is in the 99th percentile, showing the highest vulnerability. So a lot of our cities that are on this call, you can see that you have a very high vulnerability percentile when it comes to needing to enhance your resilience with climate change. And so that is a tool that is readily available, and you can actually do some direct reporting from that tool. The next tool to help you out is a chemical exposure action map. You can track your facilities. Once again, we see that a lot of our member mayor cities are in areas that have between 2 of 3 and 3 of 3 when we're looking at the number of health effects, looking at our communities, those who are developing cancer, developmental harm for our babies, asthma. And so you can see that in the chemical exposure map. And this is another resource that is available to help you with your climate action plans, but then also with some of your other efforts that you're doing. Lead service line program replacement map. So we're hearing again the uptick of once something goes wrong, then a lot of our cities, a lot of our towns, a lot of our municipalities are finding out more and more about the exposure to your residents because of lead service lines. And here's a program replacement map. And it also provides you with information from EPA around some of the efforts that are available to help you with that lead service line replacement. And so this is another tool you can click through. There is a hyperlink that is available in the presentation. One last thing I want to point out is we also, AAMA has learning opportunities. We are currently in Emily 2.0. So again, Emily 2.0, which is our Economic Mobility Leadership Institute, where mayors are invited into a 12-month cohort. And so Emily 3.0, those applications will be coming around that cycle within the next 6 to 8 months. And so if you go to the AAMA website and click on Learning Opportunities, you can learn more about the Economic Mobility Learning Institute that is for mayors. And I will pass it back to Phyllis.
Thank you, Carlos. And so we want to first open it up for questions. Anyone have any questions? You guys remember, I'm an old mayor's chief of staff, and so I know how hard it is when you don't have a grant manager or the mayor is the grant manager and you're trying to track all of this. We do have resources out there that can help you on this technical assistance or help you in the application process. Jared and his team do an amazing job in this particular area, and they keep up and track with how much money is available, what it can be used for, and that kind of thing. So are there any questions? Greenville, you had a question?
Oh, no questions at this time. Thank you.
Jared, are you still on the call?
Yes.
Jared, can you just give us a quick overview of some of the things that you're seeing out there on the policy side that mayors should be looking and tracking for and getting ready to apply for?
Yeah, public safety comes to mind first because I know for many mayors that's usually an issue that's top of mind. For the first time, at least in my career, and they will tell you the first time ever, the Department of Justice has laid out in their program plan, which I will put that link in the chat, all their grants and when they plan for them to open, right? Which sounds like a really basic tool, but grants.gov doesn't necessarily always give you forecasts that are accurate in one place for one agency. You kind of got to search around and do other things. This makes that job a little bit easier so that you can kind of plan your time, your resources, and prioritize accordingly. And so that's always one that I tell, my mayors to everybody's police chief should sit down with that link and tell you what they're going to apply for because no city has enough money in their general budget for all the things they need. So that's number one. Number two, another area that almost every mayor will say they have challenges are around housing. And so HUD has, and I'm not sure if it's open or closed, but here's the deal. If it's closed, prepare to apply for next year because it's that important. The pro housing grant, which for many cities, knowing how to build at scale is a challenge. Cities, I think, historically are generally pretty good at building, especially for affordable home ownership, kind of onesie twosies. Community development groups will come in and do 2 or 3 houses. The church might do 2 or 3. But when you are a few thousand units short of what your community needs, you need houses built in 50, 100 house tranches that are affordable. And so the pro housing grant out of HUD is one that I tell many mayors, sometimes you got to kind of understand kind of your plumbing to understand why the water isn't working. And some of the reasons why you don't see the inventory that you need to see in cities is some cities, their permitting process is broken and outdated, or their zoning process doesn't lend itself to people wanting to build or building at scale, or you may not have the capacity base of your community-based developers needs to be increased. And so that pro housing grant allows cities to take a step back, assess what they need to build the housing that they need. Because every mayor can tell you how many units they need, but very few mayors can tell you how they intend to build it. And I think the pro housing grant out of HUD is a really, really, really good opportunity to do so. The last one that I'll flag is, and it has a rolling deadline, is the Economic Development Administration's Public Works and Economic Adjustment Grants. These are very flexible. They can be used for workforce. They can be used for actual facilities. The list goes on. But for some economic development priorities that are immediate, that's a rolling deadline where you're less focused on the deadline and you can kind of spend some time finding some priority projects for your mayor to apply for. And lastly, I'll flag before I kind of wrap up is HUD 108 is a tool that some cities and communities always use, and some communities don't have any heard of it. Right? I've kind of seen communities kind of run the gamut. That is generally again a flexible tool you can use for housing, community development, youth centers, things that you want to do in the community. Essentially, if you could do it with CDBG, but you don't have the CDBG money to do it, you can use HUD 108 and lend against your CDBG allotment to tap into those funds. So just throw it out there as like easy kind of go-to straightforward resources that cities can kind of tap into. Those immediately come to mind.
Thank you. Thank you. So based on what you've heard today, I still want to open it up for any questions that we may have.
Good afternoon. This is Kenyatta Collins, Director of Federal Relations on behalf of the City of New Orleans, Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Thank you all so much for the information presented today. Just wanted to know, would it be possible to drop your contact information in the event that we have any follow-up questions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Carlos will drop it in the chat, and we'll send it out with the slide.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
And then we'll send out the links that Jared just referenced also with the slide, because we know that Jared is considered like a genius and he rabbles off stuff really quick. And so just to make sure you got everything, we'll send out the links to all the information that he just shared.
Awesome. Thank you all so much.
Perfect. Anyone else? Carlos is typing some of the staff information in. And so just making sure that you have that. And like we said, we are here for reference. And if you just need a little bit of hand holding and that kind of thing, or just have questions, especially on the policy side as it relates to federal grants and that kind of thing, make sure you email us and we can actually set you up with office hours with Jared and his team, who lead all of our policy work. And they do specific work in certain cities that we actually have. Like in Birmingham, they do a lot of Mayor Wolfen's housing grant allocation and that kind of thing, and making sure that he's on track with his project. So those are just kind of examples of what they do. I know he's getting ready to do a lot of work with probably in the Los Angeles area with their housing piece, even if it's in training or anything like that, to how you get started, how you track the grants, how you apply, all of those things.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Yes. Yes, I did have a question, if you don't mind. I forgot. I raised my hand. I'm Emma Sharif, and I'm the mayor of the city of Compton. And I just heard you said that they may be coming into Los Angeles area, but I really wanted to make sure that the gentleman just finished speaking, Jerry, he was giving out a lot of information, good information, because one of the things that I was listening to when he was talking about the Public Works and Economic Development Grant is something that I would really like to get information, but I would like to make sure that I get all of the information that he is actually, that he spoke about today. Because as he was speaking, I could see how I could possibly be, how what he was talking about would really benefit some of the things that we're trying to do here in the city of Compton.
So Mayor, why don't we do this? Why don't we set up you and Jared's team with an office hours call?
Okay.
We'll send you the form to fill out, because there may be some other things that you want to talk about while you have him on the phone.
Okay.
And then we'll set up the call with you and Jared and your team, so you can ask him all your questions, like top 3 things that are on your list.
Okay, thank you. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anyone else?
Hi, this is Callie. Hi, Phyllis and Carlos. I just wanted to say these sessions are incredibly insightful. Thank you so much for offering, this space just for us to learn more about the services that AAMA puts forth. This is really insightful, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you for joining us. Anyone else? No? Well, Carlos will make sure you receive the slides with Jared. He's already put Jared's contact information in the link. If you were interested in office hours, please reach out and let us know. We'll set it up with Jared and his team. And there is a form you will need to fill out, and we can send that over as soon as you decide if you're interested or not. And then we'll send out the links that Jared referenced in his conversation. So thank you so much for attending today. We have one last session. It's going to be June 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And it will be a fireside chat with the new president of AAMA, Mayor Stephen Reed from Montgomery, Alabama. And he will outline like his vision and everything for the organization. So we look forward to having you. Some of you, we know we will see in Kansas City next week for a U.S. Conference of Mayors. Those of you who will be there, our reception will be June 20th on that Thursday night from 6 to 8 at H&R Block, which is one of our business council members. For those of you who won't be there, we'll keep you abreast on all the other webinars and things that will be coming up. So we look forward to working with you this year and into next year. So thank you again for joining us. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.